Welcome back to DuckmanCycles and VW Garage. I'm your host, the Duckman. We're back today with B's 1971 Karmann Ghia, and you will see her in this video. This video actually, don't leave yet, it's actually a re-edit of the last 20 minutes or so of the last video. The reason why I'm redoing this one is because, well, a lot of people didn't watch that far into an hour and 10-minute video. That's unfortunate because that's my fault. I made it too long, people lost their attention somewhere through it. And the beginning of the video, honestly, moved kind of slow. Towards the end of the video, things started to move a lot faster, but this is really important to see the progress of this thing, so I think people need to watch it. So I chopped that one off the existing video that's in there. We're doing a re-edit on it. I'm going to add some new material, so that's right, it's not going to be an old video. This is actually a new video with old material, if you will. And there's Biddy screaming because he hears my voice. And also, you can hear Mama behind me over here. She's quacking like a duck. When I walked out in the yard, she sounded like Skeeter, which really blew my mind. I didn't know why I was hearing Skeeter. Skeeter's been gone 2.5 years. And yeah, that took me for a little bit of a turn. Anyway, it turns out Mama the chicken quacks like a duck. That's a new thing she started to do. I don't know what the hell the problem is. It's a little hot out here. Maybe it's got something to do with it. And she's also about to lay an egg. So there it is. Anyways, licky, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to plug the dingle blades to get updates every time I have a video. Check out Duck Shit down there for all my different social media links. And we'll roll right after that intro. Alright, we're back. We got B's engine in, as you had seen from the previous video, but when I went ahead and gotten in here, there's a lot of rust we discovered in a lot of places, and a lot of the problems were with the seal that goes around the surround area here. This is the reason why we did not paint the engine compartment before we put the engine in, for those that keep saying it and even continued to say it in the last video. This engine compartment is going to need to be rust remediated. It's also going to need some repairs, and that engine actually will be coming back out because we did modify a few things from around here, and we're going to modify some more in this video too. But that's the reason why this engine bay is not painted. I'm tired of hearing it. Please don't talk about it anymore. I'm sure somebody down below in the comments will say it anyway, but yeah, that's where we're at. Well, here's the exhaust. I figured I would share something that's on my mind because time and time again, whenever I share something about people telling me that it can't be done, and I discuss some of the times that people have told me that things aren't going to work out the way that I had planned because they don't believe or they don't have the same imagination or abilities as I do, you know, to screw the haters because they don't matter. Well, obviously, because if I listened to the haters, I wouldn't be here doing what I do now. And I was told by haters that this exhaust would never fit. And clearly, it just did. I don't know why we had so much trouble getting that engine in the car with the exhaust on there, but it didn't seem to matter. There is a lot of clearance behind this exhaust. Now this is a thing exhaust, but if you remember, I went ahead and I redirected where these pipes come out of because they used to come out the top and curve over this way. But looking at what we got here, that probably still would have fit anyway. There's so much clearance behind here that it would have worked. The only trouble is then I would have had to direct it back out and then back down and out. So many turns and it's messy. So I redirected them to the backside here, and when you put the bumper on, it should cover this area. Right through here, it should cover this area. And it won't cover the muffs. B could put some nice chrome tips on here if she wanted to. She can dress them up. And of course the bumper will stick out, you know, actually quite a bit. So the tips will have a little room to be extended if she wanted to bring them out a bit. But yeah, it fit. The biggest problem we had getting this engine installed in here was actually the heat riser tubes, which come out of here and then go up to the intake manifold. For some reason they kept getting caught on the inside in here. And yes, this is a little mechanics wire on here because part of this lip is actually missing, so this needs to be rebuilt. Otherwise, the seal... Yeah, so when I talk about haters, it's more for you guys to laugh at the comments. You know, just this is what some guy told me. It's not that I'm looking for praise or that I'm looking for support. You know, I have those things on my own. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this stuff for years. So to me, having to receive somebody's approval is totally not my person. Not who and what I am. I am the Duckman, and I will build what I build because it makes me happy. it's not for anybody else. Somebody else enjoys it, hey, great. And of course, that's why I'm here to make these videos. I just love doing is redoing things, right, guys? It's important to get things test fitted. That's just the way this goes. Now, before you tighten down all of your exhaust bolts, always what I do is I just kind of pre-fit things. Get all the bolts in the locations that they're supposed to go before you crank anything down, because as soon as you crank them, you're going to discover that something doesn't budge or move that needs to. And it might make the difference of sometimes as much as a 1/4 inch or more when it comes to fitting together these pipes. Didn't mean to do that. Duckman, you're an idiot, Duckman. You stupid bastard guy. Ow, this one. We're gonna... Tried to do that to get it started with a little bit of pressure. There it goes. Alright. Got one more nut. Tighten up bolts on something like an exhaust gear. Typically you find yourself turning it with a wrench little by little. And yeah, you can get a ratchet on that one. The underside, maybe. Usually you can't because there's too aggressive of a turn, which actually blocks the bolt. But I'll do you one better for those of you that are out there and saying, hey, Duckman, you know you can use a ratchet and save yourself some time. Well, Duckman actually can save himself some time with an impact. Here it is. And of course, I'll get it hand tightened to make sure that it is properly tightened to its appropriate spec, or at least thereof. Yeah, that's good. Okay, we got to tighten up our heat riser bolts over here, which shouldn't be too awfully hard. Yes, I hear you, Tezzy. That collar really quieted Tezzy so much more than Biddy. Biddy was very loud and screechy. Tezzy sounded like a dinosaur running down the road. Something from Jurassic Park, or as I was saying, Land of the Lost. For any of you that remember the cheesy TV show from the early 70s. Of course, by the time I caught it, it was all reruns. There we go. You gotta be careful with these if you are going to use the impact, because you will bust them off. There it is. That snugs up that side. We're good over there. Our last heat riser bolts to snug up here. Go. Got one more on the back side here. Go. Last thing we got to put on is our donut clamps, and these go on up underneath. These donuts are already on here from earlier when we took this apart. And I like to run these with the bolts facing outwards like that rather than straight down, because when the car is on the ground, you have to change one of these. They're a lot easier to get tools on without having to jack the car up. Just one of those things that you learn with experience, I suppose. And these bolts, because all these parts anymore are cheap, Chinese-made, imported, essentially trash, that if you over-tighten these bolts even the slightest, these suckers will just break right off. So as I snug this one up here, I'm probably not going to do much. Oh, the nut is an 11 millimeter. Let's see if I can still tighten it. Yep, there it is. Good, it's on there. We'll hit the one on the other side. Ow! Fucking hit my head, bastard. Oh, go on. There it goes. Uh-oh, here comes the chickens. They're about 6 feet behind the camera. I don't know if they'll join us here, but maybe they will. Alright, again, we're just going to hold that nut. That's That's enough. Alright, it's on. Our exhaust is tight. And there they are. Alright, again, that seal to me just doesn't look right. It looks like it should have been inverted, put it the other way around. All the illustrations that I looked at for some reason was showing it this way. And even the old seal that I pulled out of here was shown this way, so I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. But you know what? This is how it's going to stay, because this is our mock-up. And until it's time to pull the engine back out again when it comes time to paint it and stuff, then we'll decide what we need to do as far as flipping it back over again. But there's our exhaust. The exhaust that all the naysayers said would not fit. Not only gonna fit, but look at all that clearance. A ton of clearance. Now yes, a Thing exhaust will fit under a Karmann Ghia. And that's probably because they share the same pans, right? Does that make sense? It certainly doesn't. Back to the subject of haters, this is something that they did not call me out on, which had they have had any level of intelligence at all, they probably would have called me out on this. But remember this air cleaner that we had? Now watch this. We put this in here, up on top of this carburetor, and then we go to close the lid. And that's all you get out of it. Now, had somebody have called me out on that one, yeah, okay, I would have been wrong in this case. But again, this is why we did a mock-up of everything before we committed to paint and additional accessories and everything else that B would like to put on this car. This car is far from finished, very far from finished, and we just needed to get some things started. So I'm glad that we figured that out, because clearly that's not going to work. Typically, Karmann Ghia's had an air cleaner that sat over here on this side with a pipe that ran across. My 73 Karmann Ghia that I used to have had one of those. This one will probably need something similar to it, or at least some kind of piping off to some other air cleaner on the side. Or maybe an alternative would be to slightly modify this drip tray. And this drip tray is a good one, by the way. This is the plastic one. You say, well, plastic is crap. Yeah, well, plastic doesn't rust. The earlier lids that had the sheet metal on the inside, that the rain gutter would drip inside that sheet metal, in between those layers, they rust. And then the entire edge of the deck lid here rusts out with it because they just get destroyed. This is the good deck lid, the highly desirable one, the one that people put on earlier cars if they don't care about originality and they want the thing to last. So that tray, that thing doesn't rust. So what I can do is I think probably just bend the plastic here about ½ an inch back and cut the end off here with the screw, drill a new hole, and just mount the tray in just a little bit tighter against the body. And for whatever it's worth, it might actually stop some of the rain spray from going into the engine compartment because it'll fit a little closer. And it should still work because it's not really going to change the angle of it too much. The rain still should drain out the way it's supposed to through these hoses that are here on the sides. Those hoses are technically supposed to go into here and then drain back through the lid. But I'm not going to let B do that. I'm going to tell her that she needs to mount these hoses and attach them somewhere down here instead and let the rainwater right out through the body. So that way it does not get on the inside here and then rot this lid out, because that's eventually what it's going to do. And this thing does need a little bit of body work. Somebody put a recessed license plate in it, and I don't think they did a very good job. I don't really like what they did here. In fact, looking at it, it's even a little bit crooked. It's square over here, but this angle is not 90 degrees. Yeah, it's kind of slants outward. And I guess with a little bit of body fill, one could fix that, but it definitely needs some work. All right, well, there it is. We're gonna shove our spark plug wires on just to see what she looks like. And we mounted our coil up and over there. I don't know if we showed that in this video or not, but there it is. Our $80 Bosch blue coil. The last time I bought one for myself, which Ruby is currently running, it was $20. And that was back in 2004, 2005. So really, it's not that long ago, but when you think about it, you know, that's almost 20 years. Anyway, yeah. Let's get some wires hooked up. Anyway, this is good. We need to run our throttle cable up through here, make sure that works properly. We need to take care of a little bit of the engine wiring. I don't know what the hell all of this stuff is. Yeah, this to me just means nothing. All these wiring colors are just wrong, but you've seen me do wiring before. And I pulled some miracles out of my ass before, so I think this is probably going to be another one of those cases. Or maybe B will just buy a new wiring harness. But as always, paint and trim comes last, and wiring is technically one of those things that goes in last also. Is the weight of that engine gonna fuck up our ride height? Let's go ahead and see. Sounds like we got a loose shock absorber. Something to examine. Alright. Well, that's not too bad. Not too shabby at all. It did go down some, and I did talk about that in the ride height video, but I think it might be pretty good. If we do have to raise it up, it won't be a whole lot. I'm also looking under the exhaust pipes, and there's plenty of ground clearance back there. And for those of you that drive air-cooled Volkswagens know what I mean when you drive out of a parking lot and you drag your damn exhaust and screw everything up. All right. I think we're good. We're really, really good. Here we go. Very nice. Duckman, I'm gonna ridicule because I don't know what you're doing, which means you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, well. And I don't like you either because you got holes in your gloves, yeah, and you suck. Watch this. Fuck this seal. Fuck this seal. Fuck this seal. Fuck this seal, Duckman. You have no idea what you're doing. Oh, you're ruining the car. You're totally ruining the car. What are you doing? You couldn't possibly be ruining the car. Why are you doing such a good Duckman? A lot of what I call bloopers when I was in here with the air chisel had nothing to do with bloopers at all. It was just the fact that I was ranting a little bit about people that were telling me that I don't know what I'm doing. But actually what was occurring in here is I was removing that lip from all the way around because that stock seal, geez, you chickens gotta be noisy when I talk. They're quiet until I talk. So I guess we're just gonna have to deal with the fact that I have a barnyard over here. That's right, I got multiple chickens running around, a duck, and I've got peppers growing. So yes, I have a Volkswagen farm, officially. It's official. Anyways, I was chiseling out the bit in here because a lot of it's rusted, and we have a new plan for it. A new plan entirely. And we're going to get into it and show you exactly what that is. Hopefully the parts that be ordered this week will be in for next. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and just keep on chipping out this nonsense, and let's get rid of the rest of that lip entirely. Oh, damn it, Duckman. If you just listened to the things that we tell you, you wouldn't be making yourself so much more work. In fact, you'd make yourself even more work because you'd have to do things our way. And our way, you know, is good the right way, but for you, because you do everything backwards, our way is going to be 10 times as much work. So you better do it our way because that's the way I want to see it. Because, you know, if it were my car, you should do it that way. Because, yeah, because I'm watching your videos and I'm the gift to you. Yeah. Ah! Damn it, Duckman, can't you do anything right at all? Can't you do anything right? I mean, even Eleanor the Mustang, which you were building, oh, Eleanor the Mustang doesn't even look like a Mustang anymore. What the hell? Oh! Get out of here. Get out of here, you. All this out. I don't want your hair anymore. Go away. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Out of there! Oh! Oh! This is the way to do it. Make it worse. Fuck it up. Get in there. Oh! Oh yeah! Hit it! Hit it! Oh, Daddy's gonna hit this thing hard. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh, yeah, you're too small for Daddy to get in there. Oh, get up, I'm gonna get you. Yeah. Got you, bitch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, Duckman. I should do what everybody tells me to and just start covering all the rest with paint before I've ever test mounted the engine, so that way everything gets fucked up. Oh yeah! Oh, that's what everybody wants to see me do. They want to see me fail, so they tell me the wrong way to do things on purpose. Get out of there, you bastard! Oh yeah! Come on out of there! Oh, there's a rust hole in there we gotta fix. Oh, look at that! Never would have found that if we painted it. Oh! Look at all this. Oh man! Get in there! Oh yeah! Oh, tear it up! Tear it up! Oh, Duckman Park! Oh yeah! Oh, look at all this! Ah! More scrap! Whoa! Ah! Yeah, Duckman! You fucked it up! Where are you gonna go now?
I'm going to Disney World!
Alright, quick summary here. Why did we not paint the engine compartment first? Well, we not only had to fit we not only had to test fit that engine in there to make sure that everything was going to work, but we also had some rust around here that still needed to be remediated. In doing what we did, we discovered that the lip, which the seal is supposed to tuck into, was completely obliterated through here. There was a section here that was no good, and since I started chipping, I found there's several holes in the body behind the little lip that the seal clicks into. Back here, over here. Trying to show you a spot. Yeah, you can't really see them. There's several small holes that are going to need to be fixed. And of course, if you don't address them now, once you paint over everything, it's going to rust right through your new beautiful paintwork. And this is probably going to Earl. So keep that in mind. And if Earl gets this thing and it's going to have a lot of issues, then Earl's got to fix them, and that means it's going to go from expensive to very expensive. So let's try to get this thing taken care of as best we can. Now, we discovered a little bit of a structural problem over here. Again, why paint the engine compartment? Look at this. You can't really see it because it's sitting right in the shade, man. The line where the sun breaks is right there. Yeah, I can't even adjust the exposure on the camera right now because the camera's in the wrong damn mode. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Any exposure here, which it doesn't want to let me turn for some reason. I'm pushing the manual button like you're telling me to, stupid camera. There it is. So right here where the light breaks, the shadow breaks. You see that? That was something new that we discovered. So this little area in here needs a nice square cut out of it and needs to be patched back in. There's some cracks that are forming that looks like they're structural or fatigue, not necessarily rust. But this is where the battery sits, and if it does have any rust, that battery just pounds on that bodywork and just beats the living dog shit out of it, which is another reason why we're not putting the battery back here anymore. But I'm going to cut out a small section of this here. We're going to make a new patch to replace this. And hell, you know what? We'll do that in this video. So let's see what kind of sheet metal I've got. I think I have a piece of Gregory the Bus that should be nice and thick and easy to work with. Alright, this is a piece of Gregory the Bus. When I cut those window holes out, this is a piece of metal that was remaining. And this is some sturdy stuff. This is much heavier than actually what this body is made from back here. So it'll be a fine replacement. But the piece that I need is much smaller than this, so let's cut it out. And these are shears. I love these things. They don't make that much noise. They don't throw shavings everywhere. They're a nice fast cut. Discs don't explode. rather than shit flying everywhere, you get these nice curly fries. Just makes everything so much easier to work with. Look at that. Alright, get that out of here. Now we've got a piece of metal. Nice piece of sheet, which is more than adequate for what we need over here. Alright, we're going to cut this thing once more, and we're approximating where it needs to go. Let's see what we need to do in here. And actually, it needs to wrap around this way. What I need to do is probably cut off about this much. There we go. Now right through here, that is an almost straight line. And I think if I put a couple of just general relief cuts in here on the right angle, I can probably just lay this piece in here. Probably just like that. And then we'll cut around it and weld it into place. As the fatigue crack is through here, it's all the way through here. It's not going back here, but it does go through here up to this weld. And these welds that you see were put in by the guy previously that owned this car, because I think he had a Subaru engine in here, so I think he removed the whole clip. It was probably an overhead cammed, quad overhead cam turbo something. That's probably about how we need to make it. Even like that might be better. That puts it in kind of square. Yeah, you know what? That's nice because it lines up with the swedge lines in the body here. Alright, let me grab a marker and we're going to trace the underside of this so we know where we need to form that metal. The area that we're going to cut out. And on the inside, which I can't reach, of course, because the clamps and the exhaust is in the way. Get inside and trace. Duckman, we told you the exhaust was going to be in the way. Yep. All right. That's our line right there. You see that? This is where we're going to have to cut, and we're going to probably cut it along here, and then we'll put 1 or 2 relief cuts in it, and then we'll get this bent to conform to the inside area in here. Alright, I'm going to cut off this lip under here, but not the rest of the panel because I want that thing to fit, so we're going to cut through both pieces at the same time. Just need to get the lip out because it's going to be in the way. So let's go ahead and use an angle grinder without a guard on it, so that way everybody can tell me, Duckman, it's going to explode and you're going to blow your hand right off. And I didn't blow myself up. All right, let's get started on this panel. I'm gonna cut off this. There we go. Now we need to make our relief cuts. It'd be nice if that didn't fall in there. If I had a guard on it, it wouldn't have fallen in, Duckman. And there it is. Last second I decided to make 3 cuts instead of the 2 that we originally had planned. So there it is. I welded it up. Looks like we got a good piece. It drops right into where it needs to go. You see that? No gap there. And over here I need to make a little triangular piece to fill that. I forgot to do that when I was welding this all up. But it looks like we got something going here. So I'll finish up this triangular end. We'll get it tacked into place. Tacked here, and then we'll run my body cutter. If I don't use a body cutter, I might just use an angle grinder, but the angle grinder kind of makes a wider gap than what I want. And we'll cut through both pieces of metal simultaneously, all the way around. And we'll do it a little bit at a time, and as we go just a little bit, we'll go ahead and weld it a little bit more, weld it, and that'll keep it straight, you know, so forth, so on, until the thing is complete. I might even go so far as to drill a couple holes in it and put a couple of plecos in there, but I don't know that we're gonna really need to. This panel's not that big of a deal. It doesn't need a whole lot of shuffling around or any of that other nonsense. So, anyway, there it is. Looks like it's gonna work out just fine. So I made some adjustments. I put that little triangle piece right on the end there. This drops right in where she needs to go. It's butted up against either end. So I'll tack it in here in the corners. And once I got that situated to where I like it, I'll clamp this down tight. And a little change of plans. I'm gonna run the angle grinder through it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run a panel clamp through the slots, which will hold it all square. So I was gonna do something a little differently before, cut through both at the same time, but I don't think we're gonna do that this time. I think this will hold it better together in the way that I want it. This is actually how I built Eleanor. We'll show you how these work in just a minute. If my calculations are correct, that piece should fall out when I release these clamps. No, it didn't. Come on, let go. Fucking mother, bastard, bitch, whore. Oh, I see. I didn't cut all the way through. I wanted you guys to be part of this journey. Get that piece out. Oh, there goes part of it. Alright, here it is. There's one piece. There's the other piece. Looks like that's not even all of it. There's another triangular piece that's missing. It's still in there? No? It's out somewhere. Probably bounced under the car somewhere. Anyway, fuck it! It's rubbish. Alright, we're gonna put them panel clamps in here. I'll show you how these guys work. This here is a panel clamp. This little bar goes in between, and the panel would be sandwiched in between there. So we slip this in here like this, and we go up underneath and slot this little guy in, and then tighten down the wing nut. So we're gonna hook up a few of these right now. We're gonna start right here, close to the corner. Because I believe, and it's my personal opinion, that if you get the corners about where they need to be, the rest of it you can make fall in place pretty easily by a little tapping and beating on a hammer, or maybe getting under there with a little screwdriver or a mini pry bar or something, if necessary. Come on. What's going on here? Is it not loose enough? There it goes. That's exactly what it was. Alright. Got that in there, tighten it down. And what this does is it levels up the two surfaces. Right here I'm level, well, almost. Over here, I'm not. So we're gonna put another one right here. Back this off, and you can see this one actually has a little weld on it. The reason why I did that is because when I was welding on Eleanor, I was doing some vertical panels with this captive on the inside. So I couldn't reach around and hold it in with two hands, so I made it so that way I could just drop it in. Then I can slot it into position where I needed it to be and then tighten it down. So that worked out quite well. Oh my god. Woo-hoo. Duckman, your hands are too big. You shouldn't be doing this kind of work if you have such big hands. Uh-oh. Duckman, you should hire a midget. Somebody little tiny guy. Go ahead and handle the work where you can't reach in there. Ah! Alright, that leveled us off right over here. Fantastic. That leveled itself up. This is level, but I'm going to put one in there anyway. And we're going to tighten that down and weld around it. I love these little guys. And people like Earl over at Classic Car Creations, he uses them a lot. I mean, it's the only right way to weld in a huge panel, but for little stuff like this, well, it's an extra set of hands. This all opened up bigger than it should be. I'm gonna get in here with a screwdriver and just gently pry that up to where it needs to be. This side leveled off quite nicely. I'm not gonna do a whole lot in here. I'm just gonna put a couple tacks in and then come back and then tack in between the tacks. So that way the panel doesn't warp. I mean, it's probably gonna warp a little bit, but it should save a lot of the pain. All right, I guess we're in a pretty good spot. All right, we got it tacked in a few different places, all about 1.5 inches, 2 inches apart. So these clamps are ready to come out now, but they're a little hot, and those little bars underneath, when I go to push them out and try to catch them in my hand, if they're hot, you know, that don't feel too good. Ask me how I know. Anyway, that's next. Pull these guys apart and then fill in with welds in between the welds. The only problem I see is over here, some of these gaps are a little big. This is the previous owner's welding job through here. That's where he removed this rear end. He cut all the way through here and he cut all the way through there. And then his welds were really sloppy. I mean, sometimes you guys comment on my welds being a little hokey or sloppy or something, but his are just, yeah. I think he might have done that very makeshift to haphazardly just to try to sell the car way back when. But I don't know, maybe he's even watching the video. Hey, out there, I don't know who you are, but you're out there somewhere. Anyway, we're gonna keep on welding this guy, and let's get this thing squared up. All right, they should be cool enough now. Let's go ahead and open that up. Sometimes these panels will shrink a little bit, and oop, the bar fell down. And sometimes it's hard to get them out. That's exactly what happened. When these welds get on there and they shrink, they actually pull the panels together. So that's something we may experience trying to get these apart. This one's still just a little bit hot. It's only hot on top though, the bottom isn't. Yow! Alright, one more. These are great. Links down below in the video description, you guys, if you want some of these. They're available from a lot of different vendors, but if you do buy from the links down below in my video description, as always, I think Amazon gives me $1 or something like that, so I appreciate it. This looks pretty good. It's not level though, it's a little high in the middle. Now once I finish getting this welded in, I'll get under there with a dolly and a hammer, and I'll just gently bop it in a few spots and bring it to level. But I can feel it actually bows up just a little bit in the middle. Barely, too. I'd say from the edge to the center, it might deflect about 1/8 of an inch. Probably doesn't even really matter, but I'll make an adjustment to it. Anyway, finish welding this guy up, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Alright, and it's in. Needs a little soaking in some cat piss and a little touch up with some paint just to stop it from flash rusting before it gets to its final destination, which will likely be Earl at Classic Car Creations, as we said before. But at least now it's solid. It's still a little hot, but it's got a nice solid corner again. That should be good to go if B does choose to put the battery in here, which I know she already wants to put it under seat, but who knows? She's a woman, she can change her mind, right? Anyways, yeah, that corner's looking good. I think we gotta take a pause for the cause and call this one done. I got a gift for you.
What did you do?
I messed it up. I didn't think you needed it anymore because it was like cracking and falling apart.
Oh.
So I smashed it with a hammer and just broke the rest of it.
Oh, it didn't take much worse. Oh, is this the lip from...
It's a lip.
Oh.
Come here, steal my lip. Ah! Yes, this is the little pieces parts that come out of your engine compartment. That area that was extremely fatigued was over here in the corner. Yep, you've got all brand new metal in there now. It's actually a piece made from a 1967 bus. Gregory himself donated a piece of his own flesh. Yep.
Bus graft.
Yeah, bus graft actually is exactly what it is. This is the old piece that was in there, and it's literally fatigued. It's actually, that's what's going on with it. It's got cracks all through it, and in the cracks formed rust.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going to be easily welded back together.
That was
so.
one of the shitty welds.
Yeah, that was a shitty weld on there too. The guy that had this before did some weird stuff, but it had lots of problems. But now it's no longer an issue. The next thing that needs to go in is our new seal, and we're probably going to reveal that in this video if it comes in by the time this video gets released. We've been waiting for it for about 5-6 days already, something like that.
About a week.
Yeah, about a week. We ordered it on Monday, so 6 days today. Today's Sunday. So anyway, we'll get this thing squared away, and we'll go from there. What's happening, Beezus?
Seal.
You got a new seal.
Yes.
What's it do?
It seals.
What does it seal?
It seals the engine compartment.
Oh, from what? Logically, it's the hot air.
Yeah.
Volkswagens work opposite of logic, believe it or not. They push the hot air down. And you say that might be nonsensical, but the hot air is drawn, well, I should say the cool air is drawn from the top, goes in the fan, and then the engine pushes it down, and then it ejects it backwards. So while you're moving, all the hot air goes behind the car. That's the concept there. But when that seal is in, that stops the hot air from getting sucked back up from the bottom and into the engine compartment, thus overheating your engine. Especially in the front area here where your exhaust is.
Right.
And that will pull a lot of heat off of that.
Yeah, we gotta pull the heat off that overheating chrome.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
hot.
Hey, you know what? That's why we had a heat wave last week.
Yeah.
Because we got a chrome engine over here.
Sorry, guys.
And it's been over 100 degrees here, and this is rare for Pensacola ever to see a 100-degree day, and we had several in a row.
All week.
Yeah, it was several in a row. I mean, it was horrendous. It's the worst weather I've ever seen here. But it didn't rain for a change for like 2 weeks. My backyard had turned into a desert. It was all sand, and it was just dusty when you walked through. It was horrible.
Not until yesterday, and then it just...
Oh, man. Well, you've got something there called...
a seal.
A seal. What sound does it make?
Like Tim the Tool Guy.
Now, you see, this is what they call an H seal. You see, it looks like a pattern H.
Seal?
Yep. Now, this, I believe, is the upside. That's the side that's going to look fancy. This is the side that needs to go in. Do you know how to install that?
I do not.
Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to pinch these two pieces together like this.
Okay.
So, let go. Okay. So it forms a letter T, a little mushroom, and then you just push it down into the crack and then let go.
That's it?
That's it. And this is actually a seal from a bus.
Bus seal?
A late model bus, so don't pinch the top. You just want to pinch the bottom.
Oh.
Because the top has to spring out so that way it sits on the top. And this is part of what we had done because we completely stripped that lip out of there. And this is the easiest way to make this work with parts that are right off the shelf without having to install more metal and do more welding and all the other crap that goes on here. I don't know, he's just barking like crazy. Just for no reason. Maybe he's hungry.
Maybe.
All right, well, go ahead, stuff it in there. Pick a side. You want this side? Sound like Biden.
A bit. Porky pig.
Porky pig.
So just start with one end and just
Start with one end and just kind of shove it in there. That's it. And that bottom part of the H there that goes in needs to spring out underneath so that way it retains itself. And you may need a screwdriver or some kind of a spudger or
a what?
A spudger. You know what a spudger is?
No.
A spudger is like a paddle tool for pressing things or prying things. Spudger. The term is more often used for like cell phone repair. Typically you hear people say it in there, but I mean you could use it just about anywhere. I mean even a putty knife or something would work, although putty knives have sharp edges where a spudger typically does not.
The spudger. Mushroom
seal. You're doing pretty good, but it looks pretty crumply.
Ooh, I see it actually springing out on the other side.
A little crumply on the top. You'll have to lift it up so it's not so crumply.
Like that?
Well, pulling the crumplies out of it. It'll spring out. Now you have to push it in about an inch. There's a gap back there. There you go. Push it in there.
A little more?
If there's a tiny little pinhole or something, it ain't gonna hurt nothing, but yeah, that's it.
Just pull it all.
Yep. I'm gonna find you a spudger. I think it'll be a little easier for you. But your fingers are just so long.
Yeah.
Oh, stepped in the pump. Yeah, we got you something. Spudger. It's actually a putty knife. It does have sharp corners, so don't push with the corners. Yeah, I wiped it and washed it rather because it had chicken shit on it.
So squeeze.
Yeah, squeeze and push. And then if you need to, you can use that to push it in.
But not use the
Don't use the corner. Go straight down. Yeah, like that.
But don't push too
And
hard.
you might be using your finger in there because it's the curved edge.
Yeah.
Only because it's the curved corners.
I can probably feel it from the other side, too. Oh,
Maybe.
yep, there it is.
Maybe, yep. Oh, the sucky seal. Yeah. I told you it was going to go in easy, didn't I?
Yeah.
Not like the other one where I think you were working on it actually for 2.5 hours or something.
That was a fight.
Yeah, it's a damn shame that we didn't use it. Now, don't stretch, because when you stretch the seal, what's going to happen? You'll get to the end and you'll cut it, and then it'll shrink back, and you'll end up with a gap. So typically you want to run them a little long, so push them right, press them together. But try not to make it ugly at the same time either. With some of this here, you can gently pull it up and fluff it up. You're a professional fluffer.
Oh, no. Yeah, thanks to Viagra, I don't think they use those anymore.
I don't think they ever did they?
Yes.
They really required such a thing?
Yes.
That means the recipient's not doing her job.
Well, when you gotta keep it up for that long, and you don't have something like Viagra, well, probably we're gonna get removed first. Like the last time that I did.
I'll blip the word. Well, Viagra, I guess, isn't harmful. We're not talking specifically about bumpers and hard dicks here, which I'm gonna have to bleep out. But
Well, the last time that I explained to Ashlyn how a strap-on worked, that whole thing had to be bleeped.
I forget why I removed it. It was the reason why I took that out, actually. I did get whacked for some other one where we're talking about the penises of the Wild Kingdom.
Yeah.
That had to come out. that video got banned.
Though.
It was, totally was, but it got hit. We got
banned,
demonetized on that one, so I had to clean it up and reissue it.
Which is dumb.
It's really dumb, but that's people for you.
Yeah.
We're not controlling the button pushing.
Nope. Okay.
You look at this. There's so much more gap has been created around these edges too, because removing that lip that the seal goes in. We've actually created almost as much as an inch from left to right motion when we put this engine in, and half an inch for front to back. So it's a whole lot easier to install this engine, or remove it for that matter.
Make sure it's coming all the way through.
Isn't that beautiful? Oh wow. Did it stay off the exhaust pipe too?
Yeah.
Good. So that was a concern, that would get a little close to the exhaust and try to set it on fire. If it's not touching it and it's not too awfully close, the worst case scenario, we'll glue a piece of aluminum foil on the back of it.
Yeah. I can't. I don't feel that it's that close, but I'll also have you do
Yeah,
it.
if you can get your finger in between there, it's fine. As long as it's not touching. I actually did set a seal on fire once on my first 69 Beetle. It was on the exhaust, and I ran it around the yard for a little while, and there was a lot of smoke coming off the engine. And when I pulled the brand new seal out I had just bought, of course, when I'm 19 years old, you have no money.
No. Oh, God, no.
It was kind of a big deal. So, yeah, the seal was all chewed up. It was burning, and I was just trying to rip it out of the engine compartment to stop the car from burning down. And during the process of that, I burnt the crap out of my fingers.
Of course.
But it just had to come out quickly.
I did something very similar the other day, but not thinking.
Set something on fire, did you?
Not quite. So I was burning incense,
Uh-huh.
and it was sitting on a little cup on my table, and the edge, when the ash falls off, it's supposed to be cotton tray, and it was just a little long for the tray, so when the smoldering bit fell down, it fell onto my table. Without thinking, I just smacked it with my hand. I hurt.
And your hand stunk for a week.
No, I just burnt. It's actually right there, that little blister right there.
Oh.
I wouldn't mind smelling like incense for a week.
Did
It
it
was
mess
like,
your table up?
no.
No? Well, then you did your job.
Yeah.
Your hand will get better. Table won't.
It's a cheap table anyway. The table and chair was like $100 off of Facebook Marketplace when I first moved
Wow, that
here.
is a lot of sealing.
Yeah,
It actually might be enough to do another engine compartment. Oh my god.
I know.
You might want to, at this point, approximate where your end is going to be and then cut it just an inch or two long, because then you'll bunch it together. And you got them snips in there, which are perfect tool for this job.
An extra inch just in case.
You know? That tool's great. Something I got from Rob. Cut it straight.
What the fuck?
This is not working. I just got done saying how great the tool was too. That's weird.
Well, it started, but it didn't finish.
All right. Okay. Cut both sides too. Try it again.
Okay.
You know, it might be happening. It might be flattening it. Turn it this way and pinch it down.
This way?
Yeah. It's just a sharp razor in there. I actually just sawed through it instead. Huh? All right, well, okay.
That'll work.
I should have cut right through it. I mean, it cut through everything else just fine.
Probably because it just flattens it.
Because it's got a razor blade in there, and I mean, it's sharp as the dickens. Yeah, it might have just been flattening it. All right, crazy.
Crazy.
There you go. Crazy for your copyright.
If all I say is one word, then it doesn't matter.
It was a tune with it.
Ah.
Even though it was only 2 notes, I guess, but...
Oh, maybe I cut off.
Did you cut off too much or too little or what?
Too little, but that's okay. Better too little
That's
than
fine.
too
Too
much.
little is exactly what you wanted. Now just kind of bunch it together. Pull some slack into it, if you will. So that way, if it tries to shrink, it's not going to pull the ends out. That was a whole lot easier than that other seal, though, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Now
Yes, your engine compartment's already sealed up. Just got to make it pretty. Is that tucked in right?
Just grab it from the other side.
Grab it from the other side.
Grab it from the other side. Nope, that's copyrighted.
There you go. Now here it needs a little more spudging. The engine compartment is now officially sealed. And yeah, we do notice the engine is just a little bit lower on the right-hand side. We could play with the engine mounts if we ever had to and just adjust for that. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. The engine is sealed. All that hot air is kept out, and you no longer have to worry about that stupid lip. Down below in the video description, you'll find links to this seal. This is just your typical bus, late model bay window bus Type 2 seal. Just your H-lip seal, and not only did it work out, but it looks pretty good. And a lot of these wrinkles will come out of it in time as it settles and it sits, and it just does its thing.
We'll leave that little end for a minute, make sure it doesn't try to shrink.
Oh, I see. You cut it way long.
Yeah. It's kind of hard for me to get an idea of exactly.
All right. Yeah, it's not hurting anything where it's at, 'cause it's still tucked in there.
Yeah.
But now you have a sealed engine compartment without having to deal with all that other crap.
Yeah.
And these parts are really easy and readily available right off the shelf, so when it comes time to replace this thing, you're not going to have any issues with it.
Came right from Amazon. Free shipping.
That's it. Free shipping was here in not 2 days.
No, it was
And
like
actually,
a week.
yeah, they delayed it a little bit even, but
Well,
I think it
because I
came from a
opted for free shipping.
third-party vendor also. Yeah,
I
third-party
could have
vendor.
paid extra to have it here in 2 days, but
Yeah, right, you didn't need to do that.
no.
So there's your engine. Very, very little on this needs to be done at this point. We're going to pull your throttle cable through. We're going to work on a few other things. We got your brakes already bled. They are working. We're going to add a little mechanism to that to raise the pedal up, a little residual pressure valve,
And
which
that'll
keeps
be
more
here.
pressure in the rear brakes, so that way your pedal sits a little higher.
That'll be here in a week, maybe?
All right, that's not a problem. We'll do that coming up soon, and that'll be a small part of another video. But otherwise, if not, that means right now, licky likey, comment and subscribe, and don't forget to plug the dingle belly so you get updates every time I upload a video. Check out duckshit.net for all my different social media links. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ow.
He fell.
This one. That's domesticated violence.
Domesticated?
Yeah,
That
well,
implies
actually-
the existence of feral violence.
It's an import.
Imported violence?
Yeah, well, actually, no, that's a foreign car. Imports are Japanese. I don't know why, but that's a thing. Yeah, so it was foreign violence.
Well, if you said domesticated,
Domesticated versus feral
yeah.
versus wild.
So feral violence?
Feral violence. Oh, she's gone feral, guys. I don't know what I'm gonna do
Gone
with her.
feral.
Go, feral.
Always been feral.
She's feral. Feral. I'm scared.
Oh, that probably actually is sharp.
Yeah, I might die.
No, that sucks.
It won't feel as good as going in my rectum.
Happy Pride.
So, Duckman, can you describe to us what it's like for you on a first date? That one's supposed to happen.